4 years ago, when I was doing my IGCSE, whenever I would sit down on my desk to study, I would spend at least 30 minutes of my time debating which subject I should start with. As I sat there, clicking my pen, staring at the ceiling, pacing around the room, time kept running like a ticking time bomb. And before I knew it, I had wasted 10 hours. After years of experience and research, I finally cracked the code to solve this dilemma. If you stumble upon this video, you're in luck, because in this episode of Study Diaries, I'll be sharing 8 tips that will help you learn how to study many subjects at once without feeling, dumb. Without further ado, let's start this video. Starting with tip number 1, which is to avoid multitasking. Many people believe multitasking makes them more productive, but research shows the opposite. Studies have found that multitasking reduces efficiency, slows progress, and increases the likelihood of making mistakes. When you switch between tasks, your brain takes time to adjust, leading to reduced focus and lower quality work. So instead of multitasking, dedicate your full attention on one subject or topic at a time. This allows for deeper understanding and better retention. Which leads us to tip number 2, which is to rank your subject by difficulty. Not all subjects require the same level of effort. I've emphasized on this on previous videos, but here it is. To maximize efficiency, categorize your subjects into 3 levels: easy, moderate, and difficult. Begin with the most challenging subjects while your mind is fresh and energy levels are high. This technique is often referred to as eating the frog, meaning that you do your most hardest and challenging task first before moving on to the easiest, contrary to what we all assume we need to do. This allows us to get rid of the task that we want to procrastinate and do it first, then have time to do the task that we actually enjoy later. Once you complete the difficult subjects, move on to the moderate ones, and finally finish with the easier ones. This method ensures that you dedicate the right amount of effort to each subject without burning out too quickly. Moving on to tip number 3, which is to prioritize key concepts. This is not quite the same as tip number 2 because that one is more focused on the subject, but this one is about the concept in the subject that you're studying. So instead of trying to memorize everything and focus on everything, focus on the most important concepts in each subject. Go through your syllabus, go through your class notes or study guides, and highlight the key topics that are frequently tested or essential for understanding the subject. This is the only time I permit you to use a highlighter. Okay, I'm just kidding. Anyways, by prioritizing this concept first, you build a strong foundation. Trust me, you do not need to remember the whole textbook to understand osmosis. You just need to know what your teacher always emphasizes on in every class, or which topics are kind of trending whenever you do past paper questions. This approach not only saves time, but also helps you study more strategically. Next tip. Create mind maps. Mind maps are a powerful tool for organizing information visually. They allow you to see connection between different topics, making complex subjects easier to understand. In fact, research suggests that using mind maps can increase memory retention by 24% because they engage both the logical and creative sides of the brain. To create an effective mind map, start with the main topic in the center and branch out into subtopics, adding key details along the way. This technique is especially useful for subjects that require understanding relationships between concepts such as history, science, or any other memory-based subject. Which leads us to tip number 5, which is to use the task chaining technique. Task chaining is a method that helps your brain transition smoothly between subjects by grouping related topics together. So, instead of switching randomly between unrelated subjects, choose subjects that complement each other. For example, instead of going from math to suddenly history, these do not complement each other. You would want to go from bio to chemistry next, as they share overlapping concepts. This makes it easier to recall information and reduces the mental strain of adjusting to completely new subject altogether. So as much as you can, try to keep the subject in the same kind of group, if that makes sense. The next tip, which is to do 2-minute summaries. At the end of each study session, take 2 minutes to do a memory dump on a piece of paper. Without looking at your notes, write down everything you remember about what you just studied. This technique helps you to identify gaps in your knowledge and also helps you reinforce the information in your brain. If you struggle to recall something, revisit your notes and review that section. Doing this regularly improves long-term retention and ensures you truly understand the material. Moving on to tip number 7, which is the best tip I have for you in this long list of tips, which is to practice with past papers questions. Practicing past exam questions is one of the best ways to prepare for a test. It familiarizes you with the format, question style, and tricky phrasing that examiners use. By testing yourself under exam conditions, you can identify weak areas and improve your time management. Exam conditions could be just replicating exactly how your exam hall will be as much as you can, meaning in a quiet room, set a timer, make sure the setup is exactly how it will be like if you were taking the exam for real. The most past paper questions you complete, the more confident you'll feel on exam day. Make sure to analyze your mistakes and understand why you got certain questions wrong so you don't repeat them in the actual exam. Now, moving on to the last tip, which is to study on the go. So many of us think we just need a desk and our pen and our paper to study, or we just need a certain area to study, but that is actually not true. Sometimes when you're just on the way home, on the bus, you can just use the downtime to wisely incorporate a study session. So this could just be you using your phone or your notes app to quickly jot down something that you remember, or just going through a quiz app, quizzing yourself on the go. You can be taking a walk and listening to your lecture recordings. You do not need to just sit down on your desk. Trust me, it has worked for me so far. If you have made it this far into the video, chances are you're searching for ways to improve your grades and become an academic weapon. If that's you, how about you check out this video on how to study faster and more efficient. And with that, dear viewers, I will see you there. Goodbye and take care.